And having this conversation with us this morning is Fatma Mohamed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Mwikali.
Karibu sana Full Circle. We're glad to be having this conversation. But before we get into it, maybe Fatma, you can introduce yourself to the people and let us know what it is that you do and the company that you're representing here today, because we're going to be talking about a lot more about that.
Okay, my name is Fatma Mohamed. I work for Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organization. This organization I started volunteering before I was employed there. It's because I have a disability, and working there gave me a lot of passion, and because the organization advocates for the rights, inclusion and participation of persons with disabilities, then I saw it's a very good opportunity and a unique opportunity to advance the rights of persons with disabilities.
Absolutely. So that you're the executive director there?
Yes, I am the executive director.
Great. And you started out as a volunteer. How long ago was that?
When I started as a volunteer, it was in 2012. I was in school then. So during long holidays, instead of just staying idle at home, I thought I should just keep myself busy by just volunteering there. And over years, I just developed passion for working there. I saw whatever we were doing was really not, cannot have any price tag.
That is true.
You know,
yes.
Because it was something that you're feeling the impact.
Yes.
You're feeling self-satisfaction while doing whatever we're doing out there. So, yeah.
So what does Nondo exactly do? Because today we're talking about, assistive technologies that have been created over time to help with persons with disabilities.
Yeah. Nondo, in full, it's called Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organization.
Yes.
We advocate for the rights, inclusion and participation of persons with disabilities from pastoralist communities. We focus in 4 areas: education, governance, health and socio-economic empowerment. The organization was started by our former CEO. Right now he's CEO for National Council for Persons with Disabilities, because in 2007 he was vying for a position, an elective position in Mandera, and then he got into accident. Then he was, before then he was okay, he could access anywhere, he could go anywhere. But after he acquired disability, people started seeing him differently. The people who associated with him normally started seeing him like a different person. And then he could not access everywhere the way he used to access. The offices, there are barriers, environmental barriers created by us human beings.
That is true.
So it was not easy for him. So he knew what he was missing, because he knew what he used to get.
Yes.
Now, because of disability, he knew what he was missing. As a result, him and other people from the Northern Kenya started the organization, and it has been a blessing, because this is the only organization, by the way, in Northern Kenya that advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities.
Whoa.
Yeah, we have among our key initiative is a flagship event called the Desert Wilderness. The Desert Wilderness has built up activities. The Desert Fashion Gala, where this one is just to amplify the voices of women and girls with disabilities from pastoralist community, because we realize that as much as persons with disabilities are facing challenges, then women and girls with disabilities are even facing even more challenges.
Yes.
Double challenges: 1, because of their disability; 2, because of them being women; and then again 3, because of the cultural surrounding around them.
Yes.
So we saw this as a platform that's going to offer the women visibility, to create awareness and highlight challenges faced by women and girls with disabilities. And another built-up activity is the conference. This conference is where we bring stakeholders together: the policymakers, policy influencers, the development agencies, and other critical stakeholders, to come and discuss issues affecting persons with disabilities, the issues which are priority to the nation, but are not including persons with disabilities. So this Desert Wilderness is a tricycle competition for people who are using wheelchair, and we use this platform as an advocacy platform, as well as bringing persons with disabilities from different counties in Kenya to compete and use the platform as an advocacy platform again. Yeah, so this year, the Desert Warriors is going to be happening still in Isiolo. It was started in Isiolo. Still, it's going to happen in Isiolo in October from 21st to 23rd this year, 2021. And the Desert Warriors started as a result of a conflict. It started as a result of a peace initiative, yeah? Okay. You know, initially, this Desert Warriors is 10 years old, yeah? This year is going to be its 10 years, 10 edition. So initially, people from pastoralist communities, they used to fight over scarcity of pasture, scarcity of resources like water. Nowadays, people are fighting, I mean, after devolution, now people are fighting according to clans, tribalism, you know, politically instigated, you know, and this is leaving persons with disabilities very vulnerable because, first of all, when people are fighting, people are being displaced, people are being killed, and people are becoming disabled. And in the process, we are not even told how many people became disabled as a result of conflict. We're just told how many died, how many are displaced, but we're never told what happened to those who already had a disability and how many acquired disability as a result. So this started as a peace initiative because there's an MCA in Garissa over like 50 years ago. His community and other community clashed. They left him with a spear. Then he was 12 years old, yeah? They left him with a spear on his back. All members of his family were killed. He's called Hussein Borle. So he was left with a spear in his back. He has been using wheelchair since then. So we said, why can't we start a peace initiative that will enable our communities to live peacefully? We are not saying disability is a bad thing, but we are saying we don't want more people to become disabled. Because our country has not put measures in place to enable persons with disabilities to participate.
And because Fatma, 10 years of this, of the peace initiative, of trying to, you know, create policy to try and change our structures, our roads, our buildings, to make them conducive to persons with disability, would you say that you have experienced change that is enough, or there's so much more that still needs to be done?
There's so much more that has to be done. Actually, our government, we have good policies. The Constitution, the Disability Act, we have good policies.
Yes, we do.
But now the problem is the implementation is very painfully at a very slow pace. So we are not seeing the fruits that we want to see. At least, you know, we can say we're somewhere, but we're saying we don't feel the impact, how we want to feel it. For example, this year's Desert Warriors is about mobility and access to assistive technology. There have been barriers across, I mean barriers, attitudinal, environmental. Now we're saying access to assistive technologies will make lives of persons with disabilities more easier. I mean, persons with disabilities are using these assistive devices to help them function, to do their day-to-day activities, like just moving from one place to another, self-care, communication, going to work and performing their work easily. But without this assistive technology, people become even more disabled. With assistive technology, you won't even realize this person is disabled because they independent. They don't have to be dependent on someone to do things for them. But
what is the problem there? Why isn't it moving as fast, Fatma? What is happening?
I would say despite you know, the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, I would say despite government of Kenya signing that UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities as one of the member states, I would say we don't have policies and clear legislative frameworks to guide on the provision and production of assistive technologies. There are limited centers, limited service providers in Kenya. One of the reasons is because, again, the government of Kenya is putting heavy duty on the import of these assistive technologies. I see when there's this burden of tax is going to be carried by persons with disabilities themselves. So what people prefer is they just go to other countries to acquire these assistive devices, but still it's expensive. Person having to go all the way there those are just the only few persons with disabilities who have the resources to do this.
Yes.
How about those who don't have resources?
The government should be able to provide this for every person with disability. If it's probably we are working from home now, that means you need to set up your laptop. If you're not able to see, then you see that's going to be a problem.
I mean, yeah, one of the reasons is, one of the ways they could do this is at least reduce the tax that's on the assistive technologies to enable persons with disabilities to access these technologies, to enable persons with disabilities to use, to enable them use them. You know, first of all, they say persons' disability and poverty is intertwined. It's not intertwined. It's because right from when a child with disability is born, they were denied the equal opportunity. Look at when a parent is taking their children to school. The last to be taken to school is a child with disability. Some of them don't even go to school because they are hidden. People don't even think that children with disabilities can go to school and learn. They are hidden. So imagine uneducated, and you're growing, you are uneducated, you are unskilled.
It's totally wrong to say that poverty and disability is a thing, because if you've not given them a chance from the onset, then what do you expect to become of them? If we are hiding them, if you're not giving them the same equal opportunities as everybody else, then it becomes a problem. What would be your call to action, Fatma, as we come to the end of this conversation? To government, to society, what would be your call to action for us?
I would say it's a responsibility for all of us.
That's true.
To ensure the persons with disabilities access the assistive technologies.
Yes.
The government has a big role to play here. The government, if the reduction of taxes, if there's clear guidelines on how people can produce the assistive technologies locally, can produce and so that persons with disabilities can access them in quality. You know, just not just assistive devices. Quality, affordable, and ease access to these technologies. Then it will be easier. To the service providers, they have a role also to play. To the families of persons with disabilities, they have a role to play also. Everybody has a role to play. To persons with disabilities, organizations of persons with disabilities like ours have a big role to play to advocate for the access to these assistive devices. It's only when we have a loud voice that the government will be able to listen to us.
They will hear. And I think I'd just like to say thanks to Nondo for doing this. 10 years is no mean feat. It is no mean feat. And that if everybody took up that responsibility individually in your home, in your village, then we'd go a long way. And like you said, if you are louder, then the government will hear and they will do something about it. Thank you so much, Fatma, for coming in today. Our time is up. And I know we could be here for quite a bit talking about this, and we'd love to have you on the show again soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me opportunity. I have one parting shot here.
Yes, please.
I always say that our impairments as persons with disabilities are not disabilities. The disabilities are the barriers put across by the society, the attitude of the society, the environmental barriers put across by the society. Thank you so much,
Fatma.
Most welcome. Thank you so much.
We're going to take a very short commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.